Good evening everyone and welcome to today's drawing. Today I'm going to be drawing this antler on this paper with these pencils. So this is A1 size paper, and the challenges that I face are that my desk is actually smaller than this, it's skinnier. So I'm really limited to how much movement. I've got to use the whole of my arm all the way across, back and forward. So in today's drawing I'm not just going to be using the wrist area or my hand to do the drawing, I'm also going to be using this little elbow over here and my shoulder. So this is going to be quite a challenging drawing for me. This is part of my coursework for my degree, so it's quite an important drawing. I'd originally planned to do this drawing over a day. We're looking at 8 to 12 hours, but due to life, that's not going to be possible, which is a shame. I would have liked to have done a big drawing. So the subject matter is this absolutely beautiful antler, and that's my hand compared to the antler. So this is a natural cast from the New Forest, and I'm going to be not drawing it to scale so much as just doing a decent drawing of it on a larger scale. So if you've seen my other drawings over YouTube, Facebook, that sort of thing, you will have seen me working on this, drawing this antler in charcoal on different papers and also at different times. So from spending 30 minutes on drawing, an hour and a half on the drawing, now I'm going to spend a lot longer. So to do this, as you see, I've got my Faber-Castell 9000 series, and somewhere around here there will be a Tombow mono eraser, which I won't need today. I'm only mapping out today. And then somewhere else there's a putty rubber and some other paper stump, which I'll probably also be using on another one. So on my set, we got the antler, we got the tin, we got the paper, I've got a pot of tea. Oddly enough, under a cosy, on a mat, got pencil sharpeners, rubbish bin for the pencils, clean hands, degreased, de-underbacked, and all that. Camera's working. Hi everyone. And you'll notice the lighting's a little bit different. We found a better light bulb. Only cost a few pence, but it's a much better colour spectrum. It's a cold colour, so more like what I have in my fish tank. So it's less golden, so hopefully this will make what you see on the paper a more true reflection of what I'm actually doing. Now, this paper is cartridge paper. I think I paid about 20 pence for a big sheet like this a while ago, but I've just noticed I need to just tuck a tiny bit upwards. There we go. I've got a centimetre more, because my desk is as wide as this paper, but my desk arches upwards, so like a seating area, so there's a big gap somewhere down here. So where am I going to start with this drawing? In all honesty, I ain't got a clue. So let's see, it's going to have to start light as normal, so I'll go for a H pencil, and later on I'll probably bring in a 2B, a 4B and maybe an 8B. But we'll see how this goes. The reason I'm using these instead of the Derwent, the task that I'm doing is to do a long drawing, so a drawing that takes over a long period of time. And so if I did this in charcoal, it'd be like a half-hour job, if that. If I do it in paint, slosh slosh, voila. If I do it in pencil or ink, it's got to be a much longer period of time. I want to get, come here, I want to get this veining, and that's where the Tombow mono eraser will come in. So I'll put a layer of graphite down and then bring the eraser through. So this one's got better veining on the inside, as you can see, and I haven't decided what pose I'm going to go for. It weighs a fair old bit, I tell you. But my hand, whoop, geez, that's the size of my hand to the antler. Mind you, my hands are about the size of an average 9-year-old, so let's see. I'm very fastidious on how I draw. I did it this way last time. I suppose I should have some. I haven't actually got the original drawings to hand right now, due to the fact I've covered the whole of the hallway in artwork, and my parents are getting a little cheesed off with having to hop, skip and jump over massive sheets of paper. Now I quite like this pose because I've got the height, which gives me this lovely shadow under here. I'm seeing a slightly different angle to what you guys are seeing, and I've got kind of foreshortening on this piece, and then I've got a perspective angle on this piece, which is interesting because it's not only outwards, it's upwards, and the same as this piece is going downwards. So, and because you've got the natural staining on the loss of the antler, that I've got to pay attention to, so I don't mistake shading, so shadow for colour. Let's move this baby just over there. And this is all going to be freehand, no tracing. Anyone who knows how to trace a 3D antler, you're welcome to try. Mind you, I suppose a Lucy tool or something like that would be useful. Now, my secondary problem or third problem, slight problem, is underneath here I've got a green mat that only comes to here and here. And that's just to protect the paper surface. And I might use that as, what's that, that's 2 inches, isn't that, about there? Oh, where's a ruler? Ruler. 2 inches. Get me a fastidious hair. Okay, 2.5 inches. Come on, that was a guess. That wasn't bad. 2.5 inches. So if I say 2.5 inches from here, it means that I won't smack into the edge of the paper. It's giving me a little bit of a frame. So, where to start with drawing this antler? I'm not going to draw it as blocks, but at the same time my Vicks is not going to go off the table. So I've got little tubs of Vicks and stuff holding the paper down. When I buy paper like this, I don't get it flat. You end up getting it in these rolls, big tubes, and the paper stays very curly and bouncy. I haven't got anything to flatten it out on right now, so I'm just flattening it as I draw. I really must go and get an A1 size pad or an AO size piece of cardboard. This is going to be very awkward. Right, well, challenge accepted. So, thing is, I've got to get the shapes in the right place so that I've got the length right. But I need it big enough to fill the page. Oh, this is going to be funny. It's actually going to come right and up there somewhere. See, that's where it goes along there, and I can't push too hard with this pencil, otherwise it will mark the paper and I won't be able to erase the bit that I want to erase. Okay, so the problem is it's not using much of the paper. You know what, this is quite dull, isn't it? Hang on. Oh, blinded by the light. Ah, fuck light. Ah, come here. Windy pop. Come here. Oh, jeez. No, good. I'm not gonna guess. Okay. Whoop. Right. Antler number 2. Now these antlers aren't a set. I'm just going to quickly wipe some of this. It's not a holiday house of spiders. This is antler number 2, and this one's quite different because the main veining on this one is on the outside, and there's hardly any on the inside. So we've got veining on the inside and none on the outside, veining on the outside and none on the inside. I'm going to poke my eye out in a minute. Right, now That's going to be too awkward. And that's not quite a natural pose, is it? I'm trying to make the drawing deeper. I get the feeling I'm going to need another desk. That's plausible, but it goes too far out that way, which would mean bringing it back down to that time. Right. Which completely throws out the original drawing. Right. I apologise about my Mariari. It's just I've got to work out the depth. Though, in all honesty, I do like it like that. I like that. So it's like they're following each other. Right. Okay, I've just upped the technical skill set. Right, so adding that on. This hopefully, that means I need to drop, right, so now I need to drop this piece down. So that's absolutely fine. This is why we're only doing it in light pencil. Funny thing is, I've got to keep this on my desk somehow for as long as it takes me to do the drawing, which could be a while. So I'm now remapping in the new antler. That time goes there. This one actually has a slight dip here. So dip dip dip. Comes up there, goes skinny winny winny there. Up into that time, and then sorry if I mustard myself. Round, up, round, to there. And here goes right. Okay, let's try and map this. I'm going to now bring it in a B pencil. I've got to be really careful with moisture levels on this paper. Cartridge paper does have a habit of playing up if it gets any moisture near it. Especially with a pot of tea next to it. It would sound a little bit weird. This won't make sense at first. I'm going back to my original lay area where I laid out. And I apologise if you guys can't see this part. I'll be round in a second. good thing is a lot of these marks, because they're light, I can just smudge them out. Right. Just have to fix that piece up there. Yeah, I don't think you guys can probably see any of these pencil marks. This is how light I'm having to work. Got to go way up. This is kind of why I really enjoy doing freehand work, because even if you make mistakes, you can find ways to fix them quite quickly. And it's all about observing and learning about what you're drawing. In this case, drawing around. Now, I'm working quite fast on this piece. Now this piece and this piece actually align, so that's really handy. So I can place, bring that piece up. Cool. And we'll sort out that end of the antler in a bit. So I'm gonna have to move the whole antler. So let's see. Hopefully you can see this piece roughly. So I'm going to start by just mapping in a bit here. This is using the B pencil. And thank you for those who have turned up. It's very, very appreciated. It's not every day I end up doing drawing like this, I must say. And any marks I don't like, I'll just blur in. And I'll probably map in a little bit of the tonal layers. Just so that I know that my shapes are in the right places. And any sketchy marks down here I can smudge out and turn into the shadows. The B pencil should be light enough for me to do a lot of the amending and stuff without marking too deeply into the paper. At least that's the hope. Kind of estimating that this is going to take about 12 hours. I mean, blocking in little patches won't take long, but it's refining it. That's going to be the difficult bit. huge mistake there. Follow me. Looking at it thinking, why doesn't that look right? Good old putty rubber. Right. So this part comes round. It's the foreshortening, it's just caught me there. Then we've got a piece here. This piece comes up, out and around. Actually that bit's too high. So I'm just blocking in little areas so I have a rough idea of where I need to put in my tonal values. This antler's got scrape marks where during battle another deer's caught and they've clashed, so I find that quite a unique piece. And also on further down the antler there's an area where pieces have been smashed off, so the animal who had this really had a rough ride. Though he may have been the victor, who knows. The antler's a bit small for an adult fallow deer. I'd expect much bigger in a full adult. Those original lines are just going to be my guidelines, so bits of this drawing are going to change quite dramatically as we go along. It's not really all in shade underneath there, but there's a little bit of shade. My apologies if you can't see any areas that I'm working on. My camera just can't zoom out enough. part I've got to work out. So I've got 1, 2, and then from this bit that goes up there, and then I've got the tine coming up from here, and the bit behind it. There's like a little ridge just up there. So I'm just taking a couple of notes of where the veining's going to come in. So I've got that first piece now for the hard bit. I've got to move the paper without sending everything off my desk. Right, this is where drawing from a distance is going to come in. So the antlers have got to go back a little bit. A bit more. Right, the paper comes towards me. Just about. Thing is, I don't want any nasty creases in the paper, but my desk isn't big enough, so I get the feeling there are going to be creases. So that piece and that piece are lined, so that would be probably that. This piece have to align, so that's there. There's a straight bit there, because that piece comes, it's an overlay. This is where I always struggle with things that overlay. So that comes round, joins into there. I saw that bit of detail that later, I think. And we can sort that tiny bit out there a bit. That's where that little broken tine is. I think this is all bone. It's quite amazing. Now I can see I've made a mistake somewhere in my length and shortness here. So this is freehand, so can't be perfect all the time. I'll just make that a bit wider. Oh, right, I see where I've gone slightly wrong. That bit should go there, should go there. This bit. It's another broken piece to the antler. That's why it didn't make any sense. Up and into an S-curve. Right. I reckon that's about mapped out. I've got to get one of these right to get the other one right. So I'm going to have to start with this lower one. Okay, so secondary task, moving the paper back up without knocking everything flying. Right, up you can, and the paper. Oh jeez. Right. Phew. So once again, I'm going to start at this end and sweep through. And this time I'm going to go in with a 2B. To be or not to be, that is the question. There it is. I'm just going to very gently go up scales with this one. And pencil, these Faber-Castells that are really nice and sharp, so always handy. Find where I stood. And once again, I'm just going to keep a really light hand. I'm still kind of going to be mapping in some of the detail. I'm probably doing a little bit darker here and there. That's moved. That's better. That's how it should be. The position is slightly out, that's better. That's it. That's the only thing I wasn't going to wire these together. Don't want to damage them. Actually, I can completely shade them. Where I've got my mat underneath, I just need to be very careful that I don't shade over that really hard, otherwise the line of the mat's going to show through. So I'm just blocking in a load of the shadow areas. Just using the side of the pencil. Because I'm still doing really light pencil work, any issues I can take out and reapply. So what I'm going to do, just need to grab a piece of equipment. There's never one there. Okay. No. Okay, I won't grab that piece of equipment, it's hiding. Let's go for 4B. going to pick up a tiny bit of the detail. I just want to double test how this cartridge paper handles these, because I've not ever used this type of cartridge paper. With my commission work, I use Faber-Castell watercolour paper, hot pressed, jolly expensive stuff, but then that's what the client is paying for. Bear with me 2 seconds. Tea break. Well, break to pour a cup of tea. I actually filled up my cup of milk. I'm just adding tea to it as I go. Sadly, I can't stay up too late tonight. I've got an early morning shift tomorrow, so I need to be up about 4:30. And as it's come out to Christmas, everything is a bit insane in retail. I'm sure a few of you know. But at least for once, I'm not doing a 12-hour shift. My contracts have just changed, so the most I now do, I think, is 10 hours, which is good in one sense but bad in another. I do enjoy doing a 12-hour shift, even though, yes, it's excessively physical. But at least I know that from like 6 in the morning through to 6 at night, all of the jobs have been done right. I don't have to worry the next day that I'm going into an absolute mess. But when you've done a 6-hour shift and you suddenly think, gosh, I need to get that research done or that coursework done, that's when it kind of hits. It mentally drains you. So a lot of my weekend time is spent either sleeping or trying to chillax. My job, I'm a baker for a big UK company, food, clothing and home stuff, Marks and Spencer's. Oh, sorry, Spencer. Marks and Spencer. I should really know how to pronounce the company. And I'm the store that I'm in, I'm their full-time baker. And it involves a lot more, sadly, than just baking. It's a lot of lifting, carrying of stock, dealing with freezers that go down to -24, so deep freeze. And I'm also till trained, so if there's problems on the tills, I'm pulled from the bakery over to the tills. And I'm also trained on coffee machines as well, so I can be called up into the cafe, all in the same day, by the way. So sometimes I start in the bakery, then I go straight over to tills, help foods, put stock out, then up to the cafe. Might get a break in between all this. And then back into the bakery, back up to the cafe, over to the tills, and I bounce around a lot. So it's never a dull moment. I do miss my old job of sitting in an office and answering phone calls. That was very relaxing. It's certainly less physical. And with Christmas comes madness. I mean, it's funny actually, because when you're a shopper, you don't realise the behavioural things that you do that don't help in retail. But when you work in retail and you look at people and you're like, oh my god, was I ever like that? Did I ever do that? It's a bit of an eye-opener. I never would have imagined myself in retail in any shape or form, but hey, here I am, it's a job, I'm earning money, yay! So I shall not starve as an artist. I've got a little bit of a mess up here, so I'm just fixing that. I can turn that into shadow if it really doesn't quite go to plan. There we go. So hopefully you can start to see there's some tone here, there and everywhere. And I'm just mapping in little areas that I know I'm going to need to pay attention to later. I'm not too worried that my marks are scribbly right now, because I can soften them, smooth them and change them into marks which are more textured. And unlike my smaller drawing on this one, I do want to put in some of these almost like liver spot textures. And I've got a plan to do that, where I'll put down so many layers and then I'll blot them out with the putty rubber or the Tombow mono eraser in some areas like this. So I can kind of put down a chunk of graphite. And then to make darker patches, I'll just literally put in slightly dark areas and then again lift up some. So it's layering in a different sense. This is definitely going to look quite rough and ready until I get down a lot of the final big layers. For me, I find that it's often the final layers, when you get all that detail in and you clean it up and you kind of organise everything and give it structure, that's the most important point. Bear with me 2 seconds, just going to change something on my channel. Just have to make a quick change. I'm going to tackle this back piece later. I just want to get this first swoosh done. Right, let's go for a 6B. I'm probably going to end up using most of the pencils in the tin. I just want to get a really nice balanced layer. I'm not pushing hard still. If I push too hard with the darker colours, all I'll do is get a shiny dark stain. And that's not going to be at all what I want. Okay, I'm going to go back to the 2B, just sharpen it up a little bit and add a little bit more refinement. Well, this part is right over where I haven't got any desk. So just mapping out a little bit tighter some of the details that I do need to make sure that I'm aware of. Nice thing about the Faber-Castell pencils, they stay really sharp, which is handy because that allows you to just get that tiny bit more detail in there. And a lot of this I've got to soften right down and then put fresh layers over. I'm hoping this has given you guys an idea of how I start my drawings and how I basically work. I probably should try and measure and map and things like that, but I don't like faff-tiddling around. I just want to draw what I physically see. I know every single detail won't be put into this drawing. I haven't got a big enough magnifying glass to start with. But it's going to be as true a representation of what I see as I can. What I'll do with the vein is I'll leave it quite chunky to start with, and then as I add layers I'll compress it down, and then I can go through with the Tombow mono eraser and just pick out pieces that I really want to stand forward. So on the antler there's a piece just at the middle here which is very light, and then a piece here which is very bright, and a couple of bits up here. So I can make them almost like miniature highlights just by being selective in what I take out and what I leave in. So I think that's going to be it for tonight. And what I do is, hopefully I might get a chance to do some more tomorrow. We'll see how it goes, depends on my shift and how much noise is around me. And hopefully I can pick up and get maybe another hour done, in which hopefully I can get some proper detail built up and start the blending techniques on here. I'm happy with the mapping out of this one. I can make alterations if I need to. I've got enough flexibility. I've got my sizes mapped out so it's nicely sat in the page. It's a little bit shallow. It's only fitting maybe a little bit over half, but I can pull down and move things as I go. So I hope this has been a bit of an inspiration to have a go at drawing something completely different and to not be afraid to have a go at drawing, because no matter how rough your sketch starts, with a little bit of layering and refinement, you will build it up to something amazing. So thank you very much everyone for popping by and watching. It's always appreciated, and until next time, all the best and happy drawing to you all.